Hi guys, Assalamu alaikum.
I'm Suki.
I'm Zara.
And today we are going to react to
Why Indonesia attacked the Federation of Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Yeah, Malaysia, yeah.
For this video we are confused. In the last video we saw the dispute between Philippines and Malaysia over Sabah.
Yeah.
And today we are going to see a dispute, I think, between Indonesia and Malaysia.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see why there is all this. Like, my curiosity is why Philippines and Indonesia are attacking Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see.
After Indonesia finally gained its independence from the Dutch, they passionately supported the independence of Malaysia. The British had a large and important colony in what is now Malaysia and Singapore, and they had relatively small colonies in Sarawak, Brunei.
Sabah.
Okay. We remember that the UK after Spain.
The Dutch colonized Malaysia, and then British colonized Malaysia.
Okay.
And Sabah. The year is 1957, and the British agreed to oversee the formation of Malaysia as an independent country. This, in their view, should include all their former colonies. But the president of the newly formed Indonesia protested. He saw those lands as territory of the greater Indonesia, and he was willing to put up a fight. This is the Konfrontasi with hindsight.
I'm a little confused. I will wait to understand.
The first proposal for a federation of Malaysia was announced in 1961. Indonesia initially didn't raise any objections. It was until they caught wind of a planned revolt in Brunei, which was against joining the federation, when Indonesia got involved. The British sent troops to quell the unrest, to proceed with forming the federation, but Indonesia poured oil on the fire and issued formal statements in support of Brunei's independence.
Okay.
This heated up an already tense relationship between Malaysia and Indonesia.
Okay. So the point is, there were tension between Malaysia and Indonesia.
Yeah.
And
Brunei, I think, is in Malaysia, and Brunei
I
wanted
think in Indonesia.
No, I think in Malaysia, and I think that Brunei
Malaysia
is in Malaysia, and Brunei asked to have his independence, and Indonesia agreed to that. So Malaysia get angry, and
their presidents came together a few months later to discuss a diplomatic solution. They agreed to hold a referendum, and both parties agreed to respect the wish of the people. But only a few weeks later, the president of Malaysia signed an agreement with the British to form the Federation of Malaysia on August 31st, 1963, before the referendum was held.
Okay.
This outraged the Indonesian government, and they responded by announcing the Crush Malaysia campaign. The tone was set. Sukarno's government coined the term Konfrontasi, or confrontation, to describe their policy towards Malaysia from this moment onwards. It was a carefully crafted description to avoid actually declaring war against Britain. This marked the beginning of the military operations.
I don't really understand.
I understood that Indonesia wanted to support the independence of Borneo. I know, yeah, but
Brunei.
But Malaysia didn't want the independence of Brunei, so there was this high chance between the two countries.
This
And
tension.
There's this tension, and then they agreed to make a referendum, like to choose what the people want, if they really want independence from the Malaysia or not. But
Brunei.
yeah, and they wanted to sign this referendum between the two countries, Indonesia and Malaysia, and then Malaysia agreed with the British, like with the UK to form Malaysia. So they
to form what they called it?
To form the independence of Malaysia.
The Federation
of Malaysia.
Okay.
So they didn't.
Indonesia didn't accept this fact.
No, Malaysia didn't sign the referendum with Indonesia. Do you get it?
Yes, I understand.
Sukarno's government coined the term Konfrontasi, or confrontation, to describe their policy towards Malaysia from this moment onwards. It was a carefully crafted description to avoid actually declaring war against Britain. This marked the beginning of the military operations. The British justified the formation of Malaysia on multiple grounds. The peoples of northern Borneo were culturally distinct from those on the Malay Peninsula, but a survey from the United Nations found support in both Sabah and Sarawak to join the federation. Great Britain had administered these lands for a long time, and Indonesia had recently expressed territorial claims. For the people, joining Malaysia was more secure.
But the point is, Philippines
Yeah.
is claiming
Sabah. Yeah.
the territory of Sabah.
Yeah.
And we discovered that Indonesia is claiming also the territory of Sabah and Sarawak.
But it's in the past. Indonesia claimed the territory of Sabah and Sarawak.
Sabah.
And Sarawak in the past.
But now it is the Philippines.
Yeah, I think
that
so.
wants Sabah.
Yeah.
Territorial claims. For the people, joining Malaysia was more secure. They had long desired to have a stronger voice, and they were promised by the British to participate in the process of building the federation.
So the UK helped Malaysia to create the Federation of Malaysia.
Yeah. And they were the colonizer of Malaysia. The British stayed a lot of time in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And then they agreed to take back Malaysia. To Malaysia. Yeah.
The Federation of Malaysia.
Yeah.
Okay. And from what I understood, these facts made Indonesia angry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Indonesia wanted to sign a contract with Malaysia, but Malaysia
about what? This is
about
my point.
the independence of Brunei. Yeah.
But what she will gain from this? What Indonesia will gain from this?
I don't know.
Okay.
This was reason enough for some to prefer joining Malaysia. Brunei is a wholly different story. I'm going to make a separate video about this, so make sure to subscribe to my channel right now. You have nothing to lose. The economic potential for harvesting timber, mining minerals, and exploiting the rich oil and gas fields of northern Borneo would give the Federation.
That's what wanted to gain Indonesia. Oil. Because there were minerals and oil in Brunei. So I think Indonesia wanted that land to take the oil and all the minerals that are in that part of the states.
Brunei's independence.
Yeah.
What has to do with Indonesia?
Because if Indonesia helped Brunei to took the independence, then they will make contracts between the two two states, and then
Between Brunei and
yeah,
Indonesia.
and they will get, I don't know, like
I don't know.
oil with less money.
It's not easy.
Operation an edge. The Brits intended to maintain a military presence on the island and sought to preserve its influence in the region. To them, it all made sense to include this territory into the Federation, but to Indonesia, this could only be interpreted as neo-colonialism. The British had historically put diverse ethnic groups between the same country lines to divide and to conquer. Indonesia
Okay.
had a completely
So now we know why Malaysia has all these diverse backgrounds because the UK took a lot of people from different countries and different backgrounds. So the people in Malaysia, they will not got well, they will not trust each other. So the UK will be more easier for her to control the country.
Okay. Well, from what I understood, Indonesia wanted the independence of.
Brunei.
No, I think Indonesia wanted to send the UK home, British people home.
Yeah.
So Indonesia didn't accept the fact that the UK and Malaysia make a contract
Yeah.
between them.
Yeah.
different ideology. Sukarno's vision was that of a greater Indonesia, which included all Malay-speaking people within the same nation. They had just won a UN ruling that led to West New Guinea being included into their territory. Borneo and this vision was part of the country. Some indigenous communities, such as the Dayak people, had ancestral ties to different parts of Borneo, and Sukarno wanted to include all their historic lands within the same borders.
This is not easy to understand.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Only days after the federation was formalized, Indonesian troops crossed the border and defeated the Malaysian troops with overwhelming strength. This was the first attack of many to come. They entered the country through the porous mountainous and jungle borders and attacked Malaysia in a guerrilla-style warfare. The Malaysian forces struck back. They often transported small numbers of troops by helicopter deep into the rainforest, where they tracked the Indonesian soldiers and set up an ambush. This led Malaysian soldiers to often cross the borders into Indonesian territory, but their troops also consisted of British and Commonwealth soldiers, including Australians and New Zealanders.
Okay.
They were fighting on Indonesian territory, and this could never become public knowledge. If the general public would know that Commonwealth troops were fighting in Indonesia, it might force them to declare a full-scale war.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Indonesia opened a second front on the Malay Peninsula. They raided the coastal areas, they parachuted soldiers for missions deeper land inwards, and they launched an attack that targeted the infrastructure connecting Singapore to the state of Johor.
They acted smart.
Yeah.
During this time, there were several large bombings in Singapore, which culminated with the large bombing of a 10-story building in central Singapore. The building housed the Australian High Commission and the Japanese consulate. The conflict was dangerously close to escalating into a full-blown war.
Because now there is not only Malaysia and Indonesia, but there is also Singapore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Malaysian and Commonwealth forces were fiercely resisting the Indonesian campaigns, and after some time, they were gaining the upper hand. But the conflict really changed course after Indonesia's internal struggles worsened. The economy was suffering, and the country's leadership was divided on the way forward.
That's why I don't like the wars, because they with the wars you don't gain anything.
Because people,
Suffer.
local people will suffer.
Yeah.
Maybe politicians, people will gain.
Yeah.
But people that are living in the country are suffering.
And they died, etc. And the war is not is not reflected only in that period that there is the war, but also it will be reflected in all the history, because the economy, when the economy drops, it drops not just for a few years, but in a lot of years,
For a long time.
for a long time. Yeah. Also, Italy is still paying the cost of the first war,
Or the second war.
first and the second global war. Is Italy still paying?
President Sukarno had a strong base of support from the Communist Party, but in October 1965, they tried to overthrow him. In their attempt, they killed a large number of top military officials, but they failed to reach the president. The uprising was quelled that same day under the leadership of General Suharto. After this, Sukarno stepped down and Suharto became Indonesia's new president.
Okay.
For the conflict with Malaysia, this was a major turning point. Suharto was concerned about the communist presence in Indonesia. They had failed to overthrow the government, but still had about 3 million members. He decided to swallow his pride and to stop wasting Indonesia's valuable resources and manpower on the Konfrontasi.
Okay. I
This
think he's right.
intensified Indonesia's persecution of communists, and it led to Indonesia and Malaysia signing a peace agreement just a few months later.
This was not really easy to understand. It's really
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
I'm still confused, and I have a lot of questions in my head. So if someone can explain to us in the comments in a few words what happened really and what is the problem.
Yeah.
Like I understood that there is I don't know if it is still in the present or just in the past.
But the thing is in the past, because now
attacked in the
Yeah.
past.
because now Malaysia and Indonesia they have this peace agreements. So yeah, it was in the past.
Yes, but you told us to watch this video, but I didn't understand what is
The point of the video.
what is the conflict about?
Because
Maybe I'm stupid.
no, but
In school they didn't teach us these
things,
and
yeah.
we don't know anything about the story, history of Asia in general.
because we only focus in Europe and America, so we don't actually
know anything about the history of Asia, of
Africa. Yeah.
So now I'm confused. I didn't get the point, and I'm sorry.
The point is that, in a few words, that Indonesia wanted the independence of Brunei.
Yes.
At the same time, Malaysia wanted to have like a federation with also Brunei, with Sabah, Brunei, and the other one that
Sarawak, credo.
I don't remember the name. But Indonesia had already an agreement with Malaysia. So Malaysia, when Malaysia followed the UK, Indonesia was like is not what we agreed to do, you know. So yeah, this is the main point, I think.
Yeah, and you can comment and let us know the right answer if she is wrong.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching our video and see you in the next video. Goodbye.